Jeff, you spoke in the offseason about Cam and adapting to a bigger role than he had at Florida State. Played 30-plus minutes in both those games over the weekend. How do you think he's adapting to this role so far?
I think he's done a good job. There's an adjustment period, or an adjustment, I should say, when you're playing more minutes. How do you take care of your body? How do you recover to be prepared for the next game? I think he's gotten better and better at that as he's gotten acclimated to playing a little bit more. But I think he's done a good job.
Will Dunn's ankle heal before his thumb?
I hope so.
Is that the plan?
I don't know the plan.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how the body works, but I think the ankle will be better before the hand.
Ish has been you guys' ace defender. He's been doing a great job this year. Damian was another presence there. Who do you see stepping into that role as far as being the next sort of guard or presence that can take on that role?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. I think we have to do it collectively as a group. I don't know if we have one person that could provide for us what Dame did in that standpoint. Because Dame is a 6th-year guy. He's older. He's played a lot, and he's been in a lot of experiences guarding perimeter guys. The other perimeter guys that we have in our program right now are freshmen. And so I don't know if we have one person that can step up and do the things defensively that Dame was able to provide for us. But we collectively as a group have to do a good job.
Where are guys like Brandon and Amsel, two first-year guys for you guys? Where are they defensively?
Yeah, I mean, they've done a solid job, but they're freshmen. They're new. All of it's new. So it's a big learning curve, game to game plan to game plan, who you're playing against, what their strengths are, being able to do all of that. Those guys work at it. They have pride in it, but it's going to be very different from them and a 6th-year guy, an older guy that's been in college and that understands all the stuff that it takes to be a really good player and a really good defender on a consistent basis.
It would seem that those two guys will get more minutes. I mean, they got more minutes on Sunday. It would seem they'll get more minutes with Dame out. How much can that accelerate their development over these next 6 weeks?
Yeah, well, I think it can accelerate it. I mean, Biba's played, but he played more at the Greenbrier. Certainly, Amsel played the most minutes he played against Wisconsin. Whether Dame got hurt or not, he was going to see more minutes in the Wisconsin game, in that game. Amsel was. They are going to have to grow up quickly, and we understand that. Our guys have a lot of confidence in them. I have a lot of confidence in them. And we understand that there are going to be some mistakes and some things that we have to live through. But those guys, I think, will be excited and be ready for an opportunity that's presented to them.
Have you identified a 5th starter yet?
Nope.
For Ohio State?
Nope.
Ohio State's Aaron Bradshaw, their 7-footer who was in the starting lineup the first few games, hasn't played the last 2. They said he's not participating with the team. How do you guys prepare your front court for that opportunity when you don't know if he's going to be there or not?
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound like he's going to be there. So we're anticipating him not being there. If he's there, then he's there. We have film of both, with him in the lineup and playing a lot, in the last 2 games with him not being there. So we'll be prepared. They're a really good team with Aaron Bradshaw. They're a really good team without Aaron Bradshaw. Other guys for them have stepped up in their front court. They have some older guys in the front court that understand what college basketball is about, and then they have older guys in their backcourt. And so they're a really good basketball team playing with a lot of confidence. Certainly they have a great home court, and we're just excited about the opportunity for our first true road game against a really good team.
How would you kind of assess the way that the guys handled the test that they faced against LSU and Wisconsin?
Yeah, I thought we fought. I thought we put ourselves in a position to win the basketball game. We did some really good stuff in both games. In the second game, in the championship game, it's a 1-possession game, 71-70, with a little bit over 3 minutes left. We get a stop, but we can't get the rebound, and it leads to them scoring. And then we come down and, we turn the basketball, or we get a shot, we don't score, and then they come down and they score again. And so it's little things that we have to correct. I thought we ran out of gas a little bit against Wisconsin, and they're an outstanding basketball team, and they made huge plays down the stretch, and we just didn't make them. I like where we are. I like how we've responded the past few days in practice, and and we look forward to the opportunity that we have in front of us.
Ohio State scores at a pretty similar clip as Wisconsin, but differently. They hit a lot of 3-pointers. They lead the Big Ten in 3-pointers made and percentage. What do you guys have to be better at to prepare for that?
Well, we have to guard the ball better, so we're not in rotations. We didn't do a good job of guarding the basketball against Wisconsin, specifically in the second half. We did a great job in the first half, but in the second half, they were able to drive us over and over, and it got us in rotations. Wisconsin was different because theirs led to mainly 2-point field goals and then getting fouled. So we have to be able to guard the basketball against Ohio State. Our transition defense is big because they push it for threes. And they have 3 guys that can really, really shoot it. All of them are shooting over 40%. 2 of them are over 50%. One of them is at an unbelievable 59% from 3 on a lot of attempts. Over half of his attempts are from there. And so we have to have an awareness, and then we have to guard the basketball and not be in rotations all game.
Is
said,
basically just defensive
Amsal.
intensity that you need to work on?
Well, we've been pretty good defensively. We had a half where we weren't, and against an outstanding team like that, they made us pay for it. Defensive discipline, I would say, is more of the word, the intensity, but more of the discipline to not reach, to have our footwork be right, not open our stance up, to be alert. In this game, it's going to be alert off the ball. We need to be in gaps early, being ready to build back out to shooters, and we have to guard the basketball.
You said Amsal would have played more against Wisconsin regardless of whether Dame got hurt. Was it a matchup thing you liked, or just his continued growing minutes?
It was 2 things. It was a matchup thing. That was a big part of it. But also I loved how he practiced on the day in between. And then in the shoot-around that morning of game day, just his focus, his intensity, all of those things led to where I felt like he would have played.
Ohio State does a good job limiting shots and creating steals and keeping teams from getting into their rhythm. What do you guys have to do offensively to counter what they do on defense?
We have to be really strong with the basketball. We have to be able to play through physicality. They're a physical basketball team, especially defensively. And then we have to be able to adapt to what they're doing with their ball screen coverages. From what we've seen on tape in all their games, they've mixed it up. They have coverages that they used when they had Bradshaw. They've done a little bit, some different things without Bradshaw. And so we have to be able to make in-game adjustments and reads and be able to adapt and to make plays from there. But the main thing is that we have to be strong, and we have to make sure we get a good shot every time down the floor.
Do you anticipate Zach having a bit more of a role in terms of offense going forward for this season?
I think he's had a role on offense. He's had opportunity. I mean, Zach's been a really good player for us. I don't think anything will increase or decrease. I think it'll be kind of how it is. There are opportunities for everyone. Zach has to play to his strengths, the things that we need him to do, which he's done all year. And he's been really good for us all year.
Are you asking him to take on a different role than he did last season, or you mostly just asking him to do the same things he did last year?
Yeah, it's not really a different role. It's just to be a consistently good player. He showed glimpses last year where he was good, but then there were times where there was inconsistency with his play. We need him to take and make open shots, good shots, to be a great cutter, great offensive rebounder, and a really good defender. Now we need him to rebound more. In the game against Wisconsin, he had 1 rebound in the whole game. So he's got to do a better job there. But he has more experience in our program, but the role is similar to what he had last year, which is to be a good player, which we want him to be a good player.
Are you seeing his shot blocking affect opponents? Even if he doesn't get a block, it's changing the way guys are attacking?
A little bit. It was interesting. The same blocks that were blocks were goaltends at the Greenbrier, especially in the LSU game. I thought he had 2 that were called goaltended. I didn't think were goaltending. I didn't think they were close to goaltending. But I do think there's an awareness that he is around. He's got to be, as we go forward, because teams will know that. They'll have stuff on film. And so, look, other coaches are smart. And so they'll try to make some adjustments, and, he's got to be able to adapt and adjust to that.
You said you're still deciding on the 5th starter. Sometimes coaches talk about having that 6th guy who comes off the bench, provides that spark off the bench. How do you sort of value that, and how does that affect your decision of whether to keep Zach in that role or move into the?
Yeah, well, it is something that we look at. For us, we're in an interesting spot right now with Dame out because, do we go with someone in the starting lineup that has experience, or do we go with someone that doesn't, where we can bring someone off the bench that has experience? The past 2 years has helped us bringing someone off the bench that has experience and that can provide a spark. The past 2 years has mainly been offensively. This year, Zach, I think, has done it on both sides. It's probably been louder defensively, but he's had some games offensively with making wide open threes, cuts to the basket, and things like that. And so we just it's trying to figure out what this team needs. Not thinking about last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. What I'm trying to figure out is what this particular team needs right now in this moment. And we're evaluating everything that we're doing, and as we get to game time, we'll have a decision.
How stronger do you think Guillermo has learned to play in his game? There was a lot of physicality in that Wisconsin game, but it seemed like he has countered what teams have tried to do to knock him off of his game, both on both sides of the floor.
I think Guillermo's done a good job. He's rebounded really well for us. I think he's been our second leading rebounder, maybe our leading defensive rebounder. Certainly, I think he's gotten better with defending guys away from the basket. He's taken good shots. He hasn't made them at the clip that we think that he can make them, that he's made them in the past. But we anticipate going forward that he'll make shots as long as he's taking good shots. Teams are playing him differently. They're playing him for the three-point shot now, so we're trying to incorporate some rip drives or some shot fake pull-ups and things like that. But I think he's done a good job, and he's getting better.
He had a strong take on one of those where they played him at the perimeter and he just took it to the well. What kind of work has he put in to make that a more consistent thing?
Yeah, he works on his game. He works on his game a lot every day before and after practice. He's a gym rat, and that's why I anticipate him continuing to get better.
Cam, Jeff talked a lot about after the Wisconsin game about how the first half defense, you guys locked in, things kind of broke down in the second half. What have you guys been able to study about what you did and how you guys can grow from that experience?
A lot of it was just discipline. I don't think we came out with less effort in the second half or we just didn't want to win. It was just discipline and the little things that we executed in the first half, we did in the second half. So we're just growing from that.
How do you see the maturity of this team being like it seems like whenever you guys talk about things we need to do, it's matter of fact. It's not hoping, it's not wishing, it's we're going to do this,
right.
And then you do it.
Right. I feel like that's just the coaches. They instill that in us every day. It's not an option. Like, we're here to win. It's not a, hopefully we do this next game. It's, you don't have a choice. So.
Jeff, sorry.
How do you see you guys responding to Dame being out now for 6 weeks?
It's a good opportunity for everybody else. Next man up, Amsel will get some more minutes, Bieber will get some more minutes, and then when Dame comes back, we'll just be even stronger with those dudes. So I see it as like opportunity for everybody.
Jeff said that he felt that some of the goaltending calls and you guys weren't goaltending. When you look at those moments and like those things happen, how does that impact your brain? Do you block that out, or do you like adjust how you're playing based off of how some of those are being called?
I feel like it just has to be like next play mentality. If you let the officials dictate how you play, it usually doesn't go in your favor. So you kind of just have to play your game no matter how they're calling it and hope for the best.
Those younger guys who are going to get more minutes with Dame out, how much is all this extra playing time they're going to get over the next 6 weeks? How much do you think that'll help them grow and get more comfortable?
I think it'll help them grow tremendously. You can practice all you want and play all the pickup you want, but live action in the game is different. So I feel like it'll help them a lot in the long run.
I think obviously losing your first game of the season is never fun, but how do you think you guys have shown a little bit of resiliency this past week in practice?
You can see how it affected everybody. I haven't been on a lot of teams where losses really linger in the locker room like they have, so you can tell everybody's ready to bounce back and get the taste out their mouth.
We were talking about some of the passes Amsal seems to make, that pass for the three in the game on Sunday and just different things. What has stood out to you about watching him when you play with him and just his passing ability, vision, that kind of thing?
He just knows how to play basketball. Like a European dude who's played pro for a couple years. He just knows the game, knows how to play. I love playing with him.
You're hitting over 70% of your shots right now. What's going into that effort to just be that consistent from the field?
I mean, I don't have to force anything. I play with great guards, so as long as I just play hard, they'll put me opportunities or give me opportunities to score. So not forcing anything, just taking the shots that are available.
Are there times where like Jalen or Ish or Biva or anyone that's got the ball where they're like in the huddle and they're like, hey, we're coming to you, like this is the moment. Look for it.
Yeah, for sure, especially Low. He's our point guard. He talks us through everything, and if he sees a matchup he likes, he'll call my number. If he sees somebody can't guard him in a pick and roll, he'll call that more. So he's really just a floor general out there.
How do you think you've adjusted to obviously having a higher workload and playing a lot more than you did at Florida State?
It's definitely been an adjustment period. I feel like I'm adjusting pretty well. Still have a lot of things to work on, just playing more minutes, obviously being more fundamentally sound and not getting tired as quickly. And I feel like it's more mental than anything. So I feel like I've adjusted pretty well, but I have a lot to work on.
How do you think you and Guillermo have kind of meshed together and become that, starting 4 and 5 going forward?
I feel like we meshed together pretty well. Like, he can space the floor, I can finish inside, so you can't just help off him. But yeah, I feel like we meshed pretty well.
Spanglish.
He's been doing better. He hasn't given us a pregame speech because we were away, but yeah, he's been better.
Do you see the team's resolve a little bit higher, more intensity now that you lost the game? That you want to make sure that doesn't linger into the next game?
Yeah,
So the
for
guys
sure.
are really practicing.
Yeah, you can see how practice has changed. The energy has shifted, especially with Coach. Just like I said, discipline in the second half was the reason we lost to Wisconsin. So he's a little more hard on certain things in practice. So just feel it.
Have you guys done anything to practice for like crowd noise? So it used to be like the first like hostile crowd that you'll truly be in front of.
Just talking within each other. He's saying, obviously, it's going to be loud. So if you're not talking in practice and we can't hear you in a back gym, you're not going to be able to hear you in Columbus. So just that type thing.
I mean, I guess for you, are there anything you're trying to work on? Maybe, you talked a lot about your mental, just getting that right. Is there anything else you've been looking at, trying to improve on?
Yeah, more opportunities for rebounding. I feel like playing the more minutes I've played, I've been less active on the rebounds. So really just that.
Ohio State's one of the better three-point shooting teams in the country. They're the best right now in the Big Ten.
Right.
You're a big dude. You work underneath. How do you keep your focus, or what is your role while the guys are playing perimeter defense that you support them?
I got to talk them through a lot of things, a lot of actions. They're going to be coming off a lot of down screens. As you said, they have a bunch of great shooters. So I have to do my part in talking to them, giving them help where I can, and just help them navigate through that.
It's like having just Zach around, coming off the bench, obviously huge on making a lot of blocks. But what's it just like having him on the court with you overall, especially this season?
I love Zia, man. He gives us he's never too serious. So whenever we're all serious and uptight, he comes in joking around, and he just brings the energy the team needs.